Welcome to another episode of Bridging Legal Tech and Business. Today we have a very special guest, Beth McCubbin. Beth has a wealth of experience in law firms management and has recently implemented a lot of case management complexity system. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Vikram. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Our viewers will definitely love to know more about your background and what led you to pursue your career in law firm management.
Well, thank you. It's actually kind of a weird story. I was kind of bait and switched into the law. I had a tech background, selling, installing, training on software in another vertical for years. And I saw a law firm advertising when I moved my daughter to Chapel Hill that they were looking for a software conversion manager for a project. And it was temporary. And I'm like, that's right up my alley. I can do that. I get there, I get started, and my former boss realized how much I knew about operations because of how much I had trained on software for a living. And he decided he'd rather take the software project and left me in operations. After that, kind of moved in operations manager, firm admin, rest is history, and now COO of Barrett and Farahani.
Nice. Is there anything particular you're proud about your career? Any key milestones you want to share?
Actually, I kind of took what I learned when I was installing software that I ended up project managing and selling later on. But what I learned in my 20s was very quickly in some upset installation situations that the details do matter. And if you don't get the details right in the beginning and the implementation and the planning phases, that come installation, you just have a hot mess to deal with. So, I just kind of took some very hard lessons learned early in my career and applied them throughout and just never forgot those hard lessons early on. And I was working in the automotive space at the time, and a dealership that's trying to sell 500 cars in a month and push all that paperwork out, and you're the one blocking their progress. I've had some very unpleasant experiences in my career, so I just tried to apply that to everything that I've done. Outside of that, I really, proud of the job that we did working with you guys on the Litify installation I was a part of at my former firm, and the fact that I became a certified legal manager without really intending to be a legal manager at all. So
That's awesome. Thank you. Could you talk a little bit more about your current law firm where you're working? What kind of case types they manage?
Absolutely. Yeah, we this law firm I work for now is Barrett and Farahani. They are based in Atlanta, Georgia, but we have offices and attorneys all over the country. We are plaintiff side employment law, similar to the last firm that I worked with as well. We handle stuff like discrimination, sexual harassment, wrongful termination, executive compensation, issues like that. We just try to represent employees rather that have been wronged in the workplace.
What set them apart from other law firms?
Amanda Farahani started this path that I just really value, and why part of the reason I came to work for her is, she absolutely believes in the technology side of things. She is a very early Salesforce adapter. We have a very old org for Salesforce going back to 2015. So she saw the vision in the data, and it's really nice to be able to work with, an attorney who gets the tech side. So it's fabulous. We're looking at installing AI into our Salesforce org. We're, integrating that with our document management platform and our phone system. So, the new phone system that I'm working on. So it's really nice to have a partner that sees that. And that's from the managing partner, Amanda, and the CEO, Jamie Hall. I think we all see the benefits that technology can give you, and not just the headaches of technology of getting it installed and running it day to day, keeping it up to date. It really provides a lot of benefits and efficiency, and just a smooth product that we're delivering to our clients.
Perfect. So now let's shift a little bit more towards the technology side. In your previous implementation, Litify, you were talking about, I know you were pretty heavily involved in the selection process, and you were doing a lot of research on that. What was the reason you started looking for something else than your current, case management system?
Yeah, we had a very small operations team, and we had three different platforms that was set up by my previous boss. And they were all great platforms in and of themselves, but none of them really spoke to one another. It was very limited, if any, integration whatsoever. So the operations team spent a lot of time compiling data that I don't just mean a couple hours. I mean, sometimes a week in compiling the data that we were trying to get to, trying to make intelligent decisions with marketing, for example, when you can't follow how this client came to us, and then, did we keep the client, and then what did we make off that client's matter? What type of case was it? And where did we spend money to get that client, or was it just something else we were doing? And really trying to get that data in a consistent, efficient way was a big driver of that. I mean, it just wasn't cost effective for a small firm to spend a week, a quarter just to get our sales funnel and what it looked like. That was one big piece. And our attorneys were also spending a lot of time, our entire legal team really spending a lot of time jumping from one product to the other to get to what they needed. If this is a potential client they were doing a consult with versus a client they had a matter with, they were in two different softwares. And then a third software for document management. So, I really went out looking for a product that enveloped it all into one system. It may not be perfect or every little, feature, bell and whistle that I might have had in all three, but it was a more efficient way to run the firm. So that's kind of how I found Solidify, and got very excited about the fact that all my data would be housed in one place. They introduced us to you guys.
Beautiful.
So,
And did you interview any other vendor, or it was just Litify introduced us to you and you decided, all right, let's go with cloud?
well, I'll be honest, I think it was clear as mud to me at the time, exactly that I had lots of choices. Um, but you and I hit it off from the get-go. I felt like you were very clear in what your understandings were, so I was comfortable moving forward with you guys. And I'm like, yeah, no, at this point, I want to make a decision. I want to move forward, and I think the rest is history. And we had a good working relationship together.
Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. How was the transition process of to moving to new case management system, and what was the unexpected hurdles you were not expecting you faced them? So
I guess with my background, I expected a much harsher conversion than we probably had. I had been part of some very horrific ones in my career. So not necessarily the vendor's fault. It was really the client's fault. I, you know, because I took it very seriously and knew that there was going to take a lot of planning and really understanding how the system worked in the planning process, I think we had a smoother transition, and you guys were great at communicating. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Here's why. So I think we had a smoother transition than most people would, coming from three different products down into Litify. Um, because if you aren't tech forward, I would never try this. I mean, I would not without someone that's going to be in-house managing that product or project. I think the only surprise that I had that was, a big pain point for us was the transitioning off of NetDocs into Litify. And a lot of that is because of the way NetDocuments files they don't file their documents, they profile their documents. So they're not in clean folders that can transition from one place to another. So that was probably the only surprise I think I had their entire time. So that we had to take all of our matters. We didn't have to. We chose to, because we could not afford to add on another $20,000 or whatever it was at the time for you guys to go refile all of our documents. That was just, no, we're going to suffer through with our live documents. They all made it to the right matters. They just weren't necessarily classified inside the matter where we would have wanted them. So I think that was the only hiccup we had. And that was just, I think that was it. Everything else, I think you guys did a great job in helping us. And again, with our background, I think my advice to anybody would be, you've got to have an in-house person that knows what's going on you can't just depend on the implementation partner. You
Eh,
have to know what you want. You have to know how the system works. And if you don't, you're basically telling someone that doesn't know your business to your business up.
eh, Thank you. That's a great advice. And you already covered that was my next question. So, how you felt about cloud mentor implementation?
I think I spent a lot of time working with Richa because of the accounting side of things. A lot of Litify installations do not go with accounting. They keep their accounting somewhere else. And I think one of the things that I valued the most about our relationship with Cloud Mentor was what Richa brought to the table in the accounting side of things. She understood where I was coming from with my concerns and our accounting conversion, because we didn't just convert case management, CRM and document management. We also converted accounting, which, yes, that was housed in Action Step, but that's a whole different beast than case management. So I think, what Richa brought to the table in that and being able to accomplish everything we needed was just huge. And we really appreciated that collaboration in her time, because I think she was coming off maternity leave at the time, wasn't she?
Thank you. I appreciated that. So once 85 was implemented, I mean, what you saw, I mean, improved efficiency, productivity, how was that? I mean, was that as per your expectation?
The data reporting difference was massive. I mean, um, had a young man working for us at the time named Dakota Harbison, who you know well. He It was amazing to just be able to go in and pull up a single report, or maybe dump it into Excel and do a quick, pivot table on it. But to go from days of pulling data together to that, it was really big. Our attorneys also found it a lot easier because it was all in one place. They didn't have to go log in here, there, and everywhere. They were going into one place. They logged their matter. They accessed their documents. They could email the clients. They could email opposing counsel. It was all in text because we had Banjaxed as well. It was so much better than going to 4 and 5 different platforms. So we got a lot of efficiency out of our legal teams.
Perfect. And how was the feedback from the team who started using it, this new system, and how they were feeling?
Well, I say we have some early technology adapters and some turtles when it came to technology adoption. The ones who jumped in and learned the product actually loved it. The ones that are dragging their feet, I think, are still having a hard time, but they chose not to embrace the system, and they signed off on the system to begin with. So if they're not getting the time and efficiency out of it, it's really just a lack of training or willingness to use it. The people that are willing to dive in and really learn it are loving it today.
That's a great advice. Uh,
Yeah.
how was your overall experience with Cloud Mentor?
Generally, I think overall it was a good experience. Things went well. At the end of the day, we went live a couple months late. I think you guys just had a little bit of turnover, but that happens. I'm experiencing that as a COO myself. So that is what it is. But I think even when there was turnover, you guys didn't let the ball drop, and things still continued to move forward.
This is very important question for our viewers because a lot of other law firms may be thinking about moving to new case management system, and I know you were heavily involved in the selection process, heavily involved in the implementation, and from top to bottom you were everywhere on the project. So if anybody is thinking about moving to new case management system, what advice would you like to give it to them, and what they should be worried about, what they should not do it, should do it? So
I think my biggest things is, if you're not getting data out of your system or you're not getting efficiency out of the change, why are you even considering doing it? I mean, it is a lot of work to go through the type of conversion we went through. I mean, that was like a second full-time job for about 9 months, but it was worth it at the end. But if you don't see that you're going to gather some data efficiency and efficiency in your legal teams, unless you're saving a ton of money, which almost never happens, I don't know why anyone would go through it. I mean, I think the whole purpose is to save money by increasing efficiency. And if you're not doing that, then there's really no reason to move unless, maybe your software provider is gone. That's about it. It's just really know what you're looking for and what you're trying to achieve. Don't let a vendor tell you what you're trying to achieve. You need to know when you go out looking. Support maybe, but it's a whole lot of work to fix customer service.
Absolutely, and I mean, and it all started with the leadership and the vision of the law firms too. I mean, when we were working with you, I mean, as I mentioned before, like learned a lot from you. Like you were very clear about your vision, what exactly you want to achieve, and I think that all matter because once the goals are clear, then normally people achieve those goals. So
Yeah, I think we took the project very seriously. And I think one of the problems that a lot of people, and not just law firms, I mean, any software sale I've ever been a part of, or hardware, even for that matter, don't just go buy something. You need to understand how you're going to utilize it, how you're going to implement it. What are you trying to achieve out of it? And if you don't have all of those questions, you're really wasting money.
would you recommend Cloud Mentor to any other law firm? And
I think you guys did an outstanding job on our data conversion and in listening to what I was trying to accomplish, answering whether I could accomplish that or not. Because, when you're first going into an installation, yes, I went through the Litify University training courses, but that still doesn't tell me everything I need to know. Is my goal going to work by using this method, or how's it? I think you guys did a good job of saying, okay, listening to what I was trying to accomplish and telling me if we could accomplish it in the way I was hoping we could accomplish it. I think the honesty and the feedback and, the going back and forth in that, yes, we spent a lot of time on it, but that got us to a better product at the end. So I really appreciated that piece of it. And, in the accounting side of it, the listening of, this piece isn't acceptable because of trust flaws or, something that we have to do as a law firm. So I really appreciated how the team and, the accounting side of it, led by Richa, accomplished what we needed, even though it wasn't standard.
is there anything else you would like to share about your experience or any final thoughts for our listeners?
I just appreciate the relationship and the fact that it was, even when one side was frustrated, we would still listen and work together to try to solve the issues. There's no implementation that doesn't go, off without a lot of hiccups, cussing, problems. I have yet to see one that went 100% smoothly. So I just really appreciated the willingness to work through the issues that we did have. So I appreciate the time that y'all spent with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Beth, for sharing your insights and experience with us.